I think I discovered some things about myself I don't like.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Because there was something that happened. I said yes in a minute.
Okay.
And I think it's for a good cause.
Okay.
Money. No. I think it's for a good cause. But I said, no question. I got upset at somebody for not acting sooner in the show.
Yeah.
I thought it was not. I really thought, like, to me, that's a no-brainer. And it's going to a very dark place. But if you ask me to do it, yeah, I'd do it.
Okay.
Now, I say that if I was in, had to do it. I can't do it. Double Toasted's 11th year anniversary party is coming up. Join us for a full weekend of live music, shows, comedy, after parties, a movie screening, and more. Get your tickets by going to dtanniversary.eventbrite.com and use the QR code right there to take you to the site and get your tickets today. And I'm excited to be returning to Chicago, performing at the Lincoln Lodge for the first time for my own brand of sit-down comedy. Get your tickets now by going to doubletoastedchicago.com. And I'll see you soon. Talk about them games. Most squiddly diddly games. Last time we left our hero, I think his name is Seong, what is it? Seong?
456.
Yeah. Player 456. Player 456, as they say in the show. Seong Jin-hoo, I think is his name. Jin-hoon. But last time we left him, boy, this is the third season. Or maybe if you want to look at it this way, it's the second part of season 2. But they've been calling it Squid Games 3.
Are they? Because it really is the second part of season 2.
Yeah, but when you look up, when you cut it on, it says Squid Game 3.
I know.
However you say that in South Korean. Yeah. But anyway, last time we left our hero right here, Player 456, he had led a rebellion. And we thought, you know what? He might actually pull it off. This might actually be the end of the Squid Games. The deadly games where we bring in desperate people and they play children's games until there's one left alive. He almost pulled it off until Netflix said, you better get your ass back out there and play this game. Quit all this rebellion bullshit. We got another season. This is too good. You're making too much money for us. So the front man came in, crushed the whole rebellion, and threw their asses right back in the game. They did have a chance to get out, but as usual, the worst of humanity comes through more than the good humanity. Greedy people will always have the loudest voices. And even though there's a democratic process to whether you can stay in the games or not, you can even leave with a little money. People are greedy.
Sure.
And I want it all. Even if your chances of dying are greater than winning. It's stupid. So people are greedy and stupid.
And they don't do math well.
No, not at all. And there's a lot of things going on because even though my man did not go through with the rebellion, it was failed. There are other people who realize that the island is out there somewhere. There's something shady going on, especially the front man's brother, who's been trying to find the island since last season. So there just might be hope, if not from the inside, maybe from the outside. Something, someone, somewhere, somehow can finally end these sadistic games. Just be something else stupid that people do.
Of course.
We need something to watch. They need something to play.
Why are you trying to turn this off?
Yeah.
The people love it.
Yeah, come on. And there's always going to be dumbass people. Hey, keep in mind, nobody made them play. They volunteered for it several times.
Well, they were all desperate.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody has a story of being desperate.
Yeah, man, look.
Nah, it ain't like those Mr. Beast games where like, you ain't desperate. You just want to be on TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, they're desperate for attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I question myself. Could I be that desperate? And that's one of the things with this discussion that we're going to have. So let you know ahead of time, what we're going to do here is that we're going to have a review of the show. And it's going to be spoiler free. We'll talk very loosely about it while giving you our impressions of the show, or at least this third season, how it went. Did it go on too long? Did it end in the right place? Is it perfect? We'll let you know. And then after that, we'll get into some spoiler discussions because there's a lot of questions that I have. And also, there's a lot of criticisms that I have that I just have to say.
You just got to get it out.
I got to get it out, and it can only come out in a spoilery fashion.
Yes.
Also, there's a question of what would you do? Because there's a lot of that in here. There's a lot about, speaking of desperation, how far would you go? That's one of the biggest things with this show that I think keeps people watching. So let's go and look at a trailer for this just a little bit because it's in Korean. Oh, people so ominous. Oh, I'll tell you this. Speaking of being ominous, if you are looking to escape the harsh realities of the world, and this was one of them for you, don't watch this season. Dude, I'm telling you right now, listen to me. If you are depressed, if your belief in humanity is low, this is not the place to go right here. Don't watch this shit. You know what? Go watch something stupid like Love Island or that damn reality TV version of Squid Game. That's more your speed right there. Where everybody goes off with a happy ending. Everybody falls on a mattress. You know, they're okay. No one dies. This is all right here. Because this, and you know, again, this is just me. I don't know how these guys feel, but this is the cruelest and darkest and saddest season of the show. You know, it'll probably make some people lose faith in humanity, if not for just very small bits of hope and some much needed humor in here. And believe me, there ain't much.
But there is some. I'm glad you mentioned it. No, there's some very funny parts.
Oh, no, there's some hilarious parts in here, but it's still people being dicks about it. You know, it's still coming from a hopeless place. The only thing that kept me from being depressed with this is that the contestants kept voting to stay in the game. And that's depressing in itself. But still, I was like, well, that's what you get. You know, not everybody, but I was like, you know, I mean, shit, if you voted for this, you can't be surprised when your ass are like, ah! You know, what'd you think was going to happen?
Well, that's with a lot of people who voted for Trump who are going through that right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long ass fall, too. 4 years, I think. So, you know, as I said, the last season gave you a glimpse of hope. And then it just completely crushed them. You know, the rebellion against the games was defeated. And everybody was told to get your ass back in that game and play like you came here to do. Or, even worse, they were executed on the spot.
Right.
I know you're going to be trouble. You ain't going to pull this shit again. You as an example. And see, that's the thing with this new season. It really hammers that message in. I mean, it beats your skull with this hammer saying that, you know, and it gets deeper with every episode, that you can't beat the system. It started out with a message about capitalism, and now it's telling you that capitalism always has the upper hand, especially if you're one of the 1% billionaire out there. You know, it's not a fun thing to watch where we feel like we live already in an oligarchy, you know, where we're controlled by corporations and are billionaires out there.
Sure.
You know, and it's arguably not the best season either.
And there's really subtle stuff that they do that like really exemplifies that.
Yeah.
Like just the look of everything, having that, like everything kind of looking cheap, but like the show doesn't look bad. It just looks like bullshit made by, you know, a big company. Or like the things that they give them, for example. They're funny looking, but they're really cheap.
Well, it's funny because I still think that, yeah, it looks like an amusement park. It's meant to look like children's games. Because I think the art design in this show is one of the things that really stands out. This show is a pop culture phenomenon. And I got to tell you, man, before we get into anything here, you know, we can talk later about whether we think this is the last season or not. But I still think one of the things that's consistent is the art design. I think that, you know, that's one of the things that has really put this out there and cemented it in pop culture. I mean, you know, this whole thing is, you know, this is a special brand right here, just by the visuals, you know, the winding staircases, the colors of the you know, the colors are carefully chosen to look like children's games. Yeah, the jumpsuits with the symbols, the jumpsuits and tracksuits of the players, all that stuff has become like, you know, a staple of pop culture, are like Halloween costumes now and everything.
Well, with the symbols, the circle, square, and triangle, you think that's to link it to like a PlayStation controller?
I don't think so. I know some people have said that, but I don't think so, because only reason it could be. You know, I'm not even saying it. You know, it might be.
I mean, I'm not saying like it's directly connected, but them knowing that's in the public consciousness.
You know what? That could be.
I think that because I looked it up, like why it's called Squid Game, and I think that that's like a Korean's children's game.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
So maybe those shapes have something to do with that game. I think.
And I think that's what it is. And it's, it's just, a way to, it became a way to symbolize the teams and break them apart. And now it's become like a simple circle, a square, and a triangle have become like huge symbols now.
Yeah.
It's about as simple as you can get. It's incredible branding. And if there's one thing I'm going to miss about this show, I'm just going to miss how more creative they got with the art direction, including the games, which is what we'll talk about in a little bit. But I will tell you right now, and I'm going to pass it on because I'm going to say that I'm mixed about this. And I'm conflicted about some things because I think there's some great things in here, but at the same time, there's just some things in here that and it's just me. And I feel like I'm going to be an asshole to some people bringing these things up. There are just there's some things that are details in this show with characters that I just can't get past. And I think it's because they kind of rushed this. It feels to me like they rushed this last season or part or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it just when it all said and done, I felt like this could have just been part of the last season.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why this had to be a separate thing. I also feel like, I guess this is what happens as you go along, you evolve or you move on to other things, but I felt like it lost a lot of the thread of what made it work so well in the first season, what was visceral about it. In as much as I didn't have as much sympathy for everybody as I did before. And I don't just mean the people who voted to stay. I mean, with everybody.
I did to a certain extent. I first of all, I really never had that much sympathy for these people. If they were continuing to stay there, they were greedy and they were also killing other people over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is also not about capitalism. This is also about human nature now.
Yeah.
They're really exploring the dark side of human nature. And this season has the shittiest people. Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
It's the darkest because it brings out the darkest of human nature in this season right here. So, with this, I think that, some things, they feel questionable because they're rushed. Also, there are certain subplots that I think kind of get shuffled around not very effectively. But I also think, and we'll get into this in a little bit, however naturally they come about in the discussion, I think that some of the strengths of the show are still there. I still think there are things that keep me invested in here. But I do agree that when you go to a third season, some things make it and everything makes sense. And then sometimes you start to bring in a lot of story,
mm-hmm.
and where you start out with a simple premise,
mm-hmm.
which is what we had in the first one, and then it ended on a very simple note too.
Yeah.
Now we're bringing in a lot of more subplots here, and it's kind of mucking things up a little bit.
Well, here's the thing with the contestants, you pretty much it starts out and you have the good people and the bad people.
Yeah.
And before. Something I thought worked is you had people who are neutral. All right, some of these are bad, some of these are neutral, some are good. But to watch the neutral or even good people flip to the bad side, It was like, wow. But here, everybody who's good stays good. Everybody who's bad is bad all the way through. There's no real surprises.
There's one, I think, where it's he has a pretty complex thing going on.
Mm.
But to your point, I do think that you're right that there's too much stuff going on, even though for the first half of it, they keep it very tight and it moves.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, listen, I would say this. I'm not here to just criticize it because it kept me in there. It's only 6 episodes and it kept me in there for the whole time. I was eagerly looking to see where it would go. But, there are some characters that I do like. And I think one of the strongest things here is still Seong Ji-hun, played by Lee Jung-jae. Y'all know I'm gonna mess these names up. Don't jump on me about this.
Wait,
you mess up too.
Gotta give you a pass on this.
Yeah,
one.
exactly. I still think that he's a great character because when we start out with this season, his rebellion did not go through. He did not bring down when he thought he had the upper hand. He did not bring down the games, and he seems real defeated.
왜 나만 살려둔 거야? 쏴라고 이 새끼들아. 그래 쏴. 나도 죽여.
he's losing it. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, throughout a lot of the episode, he's just chained up and depressed. But as the series goes along, the reason why I love this character is because he becomes very heroic. There's something very big at stake that happens, and it gave me a reason to root for him. It's cool, and what's cool about it is, I still love the first Squid Game. I think it's an amazing series, and even though we've seen the Battle Royale thing done before, it just added a really nice visual and twist to it. And I think that if you go back and see how he started out as a deadbeat dad, and the way he ends up being a hero in this, who finds his humanity, that's something I thought was really cool. It's one of the things where I think it's one of the most inspiring arcs for a character in the series, and I like where he came from. Also, I think they get more focus on some of the supporting characters. A lot of things are focused on family. Mm-hmm. Some of it good. I really enjoyed you talk about no surprises. This is one that surprised me, and I thought, okay, this could go either way, and it did go away that I probably thought might be going, but I didn't really expect. The mother and son team. Mm-hmm. That is really a tragic story, heartbreaking, and you knew something was going to happen with that anyway. And even though I kind of knew that they had to take it somewhere that wasn't it's going to be hard, it still kind of got me. And I think that was a strong storyline. And
the writing was really good. Like a lot of the dialogue, I thought was really sharp.
Yeah. But then there's another story. Oh, and I like the way that mom was. I mean, the way you talk about the good people. And one of the things I like about the good people is where they try to protect each other. Mm-hmm. They try to look out for each other. There is something going on where you have a real bad faction of people, and these good people have to try to team together, and not for greed, not for anything evil. They're just trying to protect each other. They're trying to save each other's lives, and they're just trying to give each other some morale. Mm-hmm. And then, I like those stories with them. Now, there is one thing that this mother does right here that goes into another story. And when we get to the spoiler discussion, that's why I had to draw the goddamn line. And I was like, no. Who's buying this bullshit? No. And you might know what I'm talking about. We can't talk about it right here. Go to the spoiler discussion, and I will go into depth with that. But I'm sorry, it don't make sense to me. And
there's a lot there.
I was tugging on my ears. I was so frustrated with that. I was like, this makes no sense.
I know, and it's like the last season, the rebellion was the big thing. So this is what you're talking about. It's like, well, this is going to be the thing of this last season, and I was like, pick a different thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I saw that. I was like, wow. Well, I'm going to accept that because otherwise it's going to ruin everything. And I'm going to turn this shit off.
And I'm probably between the two of you, whatever we're talking about, until we get to it, I'm probably between the two of you. Like, I'm frustrated like you are. And I'm like, this is no matter where this goes, this is always going to be on my hand. I'm going to be thinking about it. But at the same time, I did think it went to an amazing place in the story.
Because it's something that you can see why they want to do it, because it leads to something awesome. But it's like, all right, that's a little bit of a rush.
I thought where they went was really cool. I wish it had been introduced more sensibly. Don't treat me like I'm stupid. I mean, you can't. You know you can't do that. I know it's Squid Game. I know it ain't real. But damn, come on, man. This ain't Harry Potter or some shit now. Come on. This ain't magic. I will say
it is if we say it.
I ain't got no choice.
You're here now.
If that squid say it is, so it is.
Everybody has already voted. You can't leave the game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Shoot me. I'm like my man here. Kill me. This is stupid. I will say though, okay, so they do a lot of things to keep people in. I think that's one of the reasons why this is either split between the audience or the critics have given this sort of more favorable glowing reviews. Because I think when I said that the strongest elements from the first Squid Game and even the second season, I still think some of those strong elements are there. Song Ji-hoon, whatever his name is, being one of them. I think his story's strong. But, we're here for the games. That's what everybody comes back for. Everybody wants to see what these games are going to be like. And man, that the games are more diabolical this time around, but they have a very special effect on me.
Oh,
Yeah, and I tell you why. First of all, they teased that big ass boy last season, and he delivered. The last thing he needed was that boy and that girl to get together, man. You knew that was going to be no good. You knew it was going to be no good what they were going to do with that. And the reason why these games are so diabolical to me, man, they're asking people to be crueler. They're asking people to be more evil this time around. But also, let me see if I can find it here. There's more games that are focused on heights. And, those are the games that always scared me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they have a new game in here, and I think I can tell you what it is. It's jump rope. And that's where that boy and that girl came in. And man, so they have a lot of games. I don't really have a fear of heights, but that's a fear of mine right there. Just listen, I don't have a fear of heights. I can get on a roller coaster or a theme ride.
But a catwalk will do it for you.
But man, anybody, you tell somebody to go around a narrow ass catwalk and keep jumping up and down, and they show you just how high these people are up now in several of the games. And that's just something that got to me. Like that, when they played tug of war,
yeah.
I mean, my heart was beating so fast.
I think that was the most terrifying of all the games.
Terrifying. There you go.
Yeah, they emphasize the heights a lot in this. I noticed that because a lot of those other scenes, like tug of war and like the glass bridge, those rooms were dark. This time it's like we well lit the floor so you can see yourself die.
Oh yeah, so you can see everybody down, their brain splattered all over the ground.
And you see people hit the ground or hear it. It's very impactful.
Yeah, I think the game's a lot scarier this time around for me.
Well, it seems like they have a bunch that are just like, and for this game, kill somebody.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this game they were just kind of like,
we're not around anymore. Yeah, just kill somebody.
Just find somebody and gut someone. They're more evil.
That's what reminded me of a corporation, the way that the rules were just changing and they were like, hey, these are the rules now, okay? I mean, we just made it up like 30 seconds ago, but these are the rules, okay? I love that. That felt like some Amazon shit.
But it was still a kid's game.
Yeah.
Let's just say hide and seek is probably, it's despite the heights, that's the most evil game that they have. And they were asking people to do some really just vile things.
Yeah, you can't pass until you kill somebody.
Yeah, it's horrible. And it just goes to show that this season is the most cold-hearted. They don't care who you are. They don't care what condition you're in. It just makes people more, and the more crippled you are, the more have a handicap you have. It just brings out the more ruthlessness in people, man. It's really, I'm not saying this is a criticism either. I'm just saying, if you can't take that kind of cruelty, this is not the show it started out as. It was already cruel.
I would say that from the very beginning.
Oh no, it was cruel, but we still watched it in a fun way. You ever seen Battle Royale? The what is it? Is that Chinese or no? It's Japanese. Mm-hmm. You ever seen Battle Royale? We've seen these movies like Hunger Games. We watch these movies where people are killing each other and they still have some fun to them. Squid Games kind of start out that way. This is oppressive right here. It really is going into the very, very much the dark side of humanity, more than I think it did in the first one. That's why I just said, if you're looking for something fun here, the fun has been toned down, I think. And the message of we ain't shit has been toned up even more. Hey everyone, excuse me. I have to give a quick word out to our sponsor right now, which is Shopify. And you know what? People send me their works of art and things that they do for us all the time. I look at them and I say, you know what? Those people could start their own online businesses, be their own entrepreneurs, and the best place to start. Wow, I wonder how they would do that. You know what? Shopify. You know what I was about to say. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. Getting started is easy. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style with hundreds of easy-to-use templates, no coding skills required, and Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that help you write product descriptions, page headlines, and it'll even help you with your product photography. Shopify has world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond that. Not that you'll be returning a lot of stuff because people don't love what you do. And you're going to love this right here. This code I have for you. If you put in shopify.com/toasted, all lowercase, you'll get a $1 per month trial period. I want to thank Shopify for sponsoring this portion of the show, and I want to thank you out there for all of your support. Now, back to the video. They have a lot of subplots going on, and I think that these will work for some people, and for others they won't, depending on what you're coming in looking for, depending on how long they spend on it. You might not want to spend that much time with some of these subplots. Like they have the front man's brother.
The detective.
Yeah, the detective, Hwang Jun-ho. You know, he's the one that's searching for the island. He miraculously survived off the cliff. Not
Getting shot up.
Not hitting the ground, but hitting the ocean somehow. Apparently he fell and just slid over and hit the water. But I think this is kind of dragged out because they do a lot of repeating of these guys on a boat, kind of talking about where's the island, and but I do think this season, I'm not giving any spoilers right here. If you came back from season 2, then you know what's happening. The captain of that boat end up being the guy who worked for the games. I think he ended up being a guard or something. He has one of the costumes. So, that's kind of an interesting twist that they brought in. And that kind of kept me in right here.
I think it's an interesting twist or something, something to have a B plot with that, like, when's he going to betray them or will they figure it out? But it would go away for such a long time that when it would pop back up, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this thing. And they did drag it out for quite a while. That's because it got repetitive after a while.
Yo, you gonna say something?
No.
Oh no, I think they would kind of drag it out a little bit, but I liked it. I liked it because I like that we're now, you can't stay in the games for so long. You got to kind of give people more story, otherwise, that's going to get repetitive. And I think having some story placed outside of that in the outside world is actually pretty cool. The story I thought that was dragged out more, and I did forget about sometimes, was the badass chick.
Number 11 or 16?
Something like that. Kang no Hui, or number, something like that.
11 or 16.
Yeah, I think she was 11 because she gave the number 16 key to her partner, or the guy she was trying to save. She's there to try to help somebody. You know the story if you saw season 2. I thought she's the most badass character. I like the damage that she's causing. She really is tearing things up from the inside, so I kind of root for her there too. But her story was so scattered that when they did come back to it, I was like, oh yeah, that's hey,
Well, yeah, what was she doing again? What's
But her story does start very strong because they introduced her in a way I was like, all right, are you guys going to draw this out? Nope, I'm going to just deal with this immediately.
Yeah, and they introduced a reason for her to do it. Her motivation's good. Yeah. There's something going on with a girl that has cancer. So she's there she's connected to that for something, some little girl in the outside world. She's there to try to help out somehow. We don't really know why. We don't know if it's for the money, whether she's related to this girl. I don't know. She's trying to help out a friend. Who knows? They do get into it later on. But yeah, they just spend so much space, back and forth going back to it. I was just like, well, we could have maybe balanced that out a little bit better. But I think the biggest strength of the show is that they are touching into human nature so much. And human nature, that is a weakness for us all, whether we want to admit it or not. We are all at points a victim to greed, desperation. We all have a dark side to us. Just depending on the person who brings that much out or that little out. And so I think the show makes us question ourselves, man. We think we're good people, but what would push us? And I think this season, it puts viewers in a really dark place, man. Because at one point it does ask, could you become a cold blood killer? Not for money, but could you do it if you had to protect yourself or somebody else? What if you had to do it for a really good reason? Could you do it? And I like the way it actually brought that up. We'll get into the spoiler discussion, but I think I discovered some things about myself I don't like.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Because there was something that happened. I said yes in a minute. Okay. And I think it's for a good cause.
Okay.
Money. No. I think it's for a good cause, but I said, no question. I got upset at somebody for not acting sooner in the show.
Yeah.
I thought it was not, I really thought, like, to me, that's a no-brainer. And it's going to a very dark place. But if you ask me to do it, yeah, I'd do it. Okay. Now, I say that if I was in, had to do it. I can't do it. But no, right now, I'm like, oh, yeah. I could reach much to that bad place in me and do that without a doubt. Like I said, man, that, we have to get into the spoiler discussion. I would say this. I forgot to bring this up. One thing I want to see what happens at some point. I'll say that for the spoiler discussion.
Give our ratings first.
Well, no, you know what? I was trying to figure out how to talk about this. The VIPs. That's another thing that's a criticism of mine. I thought that the VIPs. I thought at first when they brought them in, they introduced them where they give the if you remember the VIPs, they're the rich people that come in and watch the games. They pay for the games, and they did something different with them, introducing in this season. And then after that, they just sat their asses down and just kind of narrated everything that we were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all just
you're kind of useless here.
Yeah,
we don't need you.
Yeah. You're just asshole sportscasters now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the show. Yeah. You're just repeating what I'm looking at right now. And I don't know if this is a Korean thing where they had to talk slow or talk a certain way for Koreans, but they're not the best actors.
They're not, but maybe it's the ADR, but it's also such a it had to be Americans and Brits who would sponsor something like this because Koreans would never.
And I thought that, I didn't think that they were giving bad performances. It's funny, Alex said the same thing, and I was like, I just think they're stupid. That's what I liked about them. One of the VIPs had one of my favorite lines. I've been thinking about it all weekend. It was so funny. It was in the second episode, I think, maybe the third. He's sitting down talking about how good it made him feel.
Yeah, I feel like they might have done it for a reason, but I think that they're talking English and they put Korean subtitles on. They're doing that. But I was watching this dubbed.
Yeah, same.
And when everybody talks, they talk like this.
Yeah.
For some reason, everyone talks like this.
Yeah, it's like anime from the 60s.
Yeah. But when they got to the English people, they were kind of talking the same way. I don't know. Can you believe what's happening now with player 456? And I was like, man, y'all don't have to talk like this now. Y'all know y'all ain't dubbed. and that mouths were moving right with us. I know that they weren't dubbed. Oh, I don't know. You look very beautiful when you're not saying something stupid. So I don't know what they're talking about. But I was like, we're giving bad dialogue. They were giving bad talk like they did bad
readings.
Yeah. So I just thought that they were. If you're going to do something with them, man. They didn't really provide too much.
They were cooler when they were more of a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting here, taking up so much screen time, I was like, these people are clowns.
Yeah.
This is actually, it's making this thing feel kind of foolish at this point.
It's probably the cheapest thing they do where it's like, see, the VIPs are you watching this at home. It's a simple metaphor, but I thought it worked.
Mm.
Yeah. Like I said, it could be for a reason. And especially with a woman talk. Everything begin with Are they doing what I think they're doing? Shut up. Yeah, no, I would have watched it I'd rather watch it in Korean, but I just wanted to really pay attention to some other things, and that's why I watched it dubbed. So,
yeah,
because there's other little details and little visual cues and whatnot.
I didn't have a problem with the dubbing anywhere else.
Yeah.
You could just tell that. I watched it one time; it looked fine, but that mouths were all off of on this one this time. They were really doing that kung fu thing. Mouth keep moving after they're finished. Like I said, I don't think this season is the strongest. They got just a lot going on, and I don't think it all received the right amount of attention. Sorry. Because they had such little time to get this going. I'm not one to argue for more episodes. I don't want 16, 13, 15 episodes. But I don't know, man. Maybe, I don't know what they could have done to make it flow a little bit better for me. But I will say this, it ends more hopeful than it starts. So as depressing as I'm making it sound, it does give some decent closure to things here in the show. So, yeah. And like I said, you'd have to see the spoiler talk to know what's really bringing this down for me. There's a couple of things that really bothered me. So I don't know, man. Like I said, it kept me interested. I've been giving a lot of these, but I'll probably give this low matinee. Probably low to regular matinee for me.
Like you said, this one isn't the strongest season. I found myself like I watched and I enjoyed it the whole time, but I wasn't as emotionally invested and I didn't get those highs and lows from it. And there were some things that had me going, or it just felt like it was not so much spinning its wheels, but just having things in there that were sort of not driving things forward, at least not in a way that was surprising. It's entertaining, but I certainly didn't leave it going like, man, I can't wait for the next one, or I hope they do more. I mean, I think that first season was just tight and perfect. And when it comes to this second and third, it's just more to keep it going. And for me, it is more of a low matinee.
Well, I guess I liked it the most, but I do agree, though, that this is probably the weakest season, and it's because of the reasons you've already brought up. There's a lot going on. It's not just focusing on the game, but there's some really great filmmaking in here, and I thought this was really funny at times, and it looks incredible. And the games themselves, super fun to watch. That jump rope sequence has one of my favorite lines in the whole series.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to say what it is?
When the guy's like, looks at him and says, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm playing."
Yeah, that was cool too.
Oh, I love that. It was so good. They started the next episode with that line, but I'd give this a full price. I think that this is a great way to end this story.
Yeah. The ending I did like. And I forgot to mention, I like, when I say humor, it's not completely hopeless, man. They got the loan shark dude.
Yeah.
That has some really funny moments in here,
that
man.
That guy's ridiculous.
Yeah, I like that dude, though, man. Yeah, the detective is forced to work with some guys that he probably arrest. One of these guys being a loan shark dude, or a guy who worked for a loan shark. And yeah, he's just bumbling, man. It gets to a point where he has a really funny scene in a police station. And it's funny, and I like it because it's funny, and it's also very tense. It's very suspenseful. So I thought that was a character that was well done. I liked all his scenes right there. So yeah, so low matinee, full price matinee. Nobody's saying it's bad.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. I guess I think with the first season and even the second, I had my finger on the pulse of why everybody wanted to be there and why they needed the money. And then watching this one, I was like, I don't even remember what they want this money for. I know one guy, he needed a bunch because of his business, but the rest of them, I was like, I forgot what it was you wanted to buy.
Yeah. For some people, that could probably be an issue. For some, it's probably like, we just know that they need money, because we can't memorize everybody's need for the money. Because I don't even remember what these people need the money for.
Yeah,
I just remembered a lot of them said they were in debt, basically.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
I know that's basically what it is.
Like
everybody's in debt.
Yeah, there's a YouTube guy that scammed a bunch of people.
Yeah,
there's some people already dead that got scammed by that guy. Mm-hmm. Some people gambled.
Yeah,
the guy who the mother and son team, like the son, he just ruined he's not a good businessman. Mm-hmm. He's actually kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And he ruined his startup and got into debt.
Yeah.
Is that number 100? The guy who you said was looking up the skirt of the jump rope?
No, that's the old dude. It's the mother and son team. The dude with the look, he had a
crazy
perm.
curly hair.
Yeah. The perm dude. Yeah. There he is. Right. I got him right here. This guy. Yeah, this guy right here. Mm-hmm. His startup, and his mom keeps talking about, he's an idiot.
That was his saddest story.
That is sad because his mom came in to bail his stupid ass out.
And then when they go more in depth, I mean, we can talk about it, but that lady's performance and even the person who dubbed it, I thought they did an excellent job.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters. I loved her. But let's go ahead and get to our spoiler discussion then, since we're already kind of sliding into it. Yeah, get out of here, Alec.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Yeah. Give me something to throw at him. Get out of here. Oh, that's my daddy. Playing your Squid Games, boy? Or would you look at that? You made it to the end of the video. That means you really like us. So just go ahead and press that like button and subscribe while you're at it. And check out our other channels, our social media like Instagram, TikTok, and our Patreon, where we have new stuff coming up all the time. And we'll see you on the next video.